Gopi Jana Balama Hari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balama Hari Gopi Jana Balama Hari Yashodandana Raja Janaranjana Yashodandana Raja Janaranjana Yamunatira Gopi Jana Balama Hari Gopi Jana Balama Hari Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana Tira Namara Tira Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Vishnupada Paramahamsa Everybody Acharya Sotarasvati Singh A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Nantagoti Vaishnavan Ki Jai Ramacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gaurupinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govind Dham Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Antara Dham ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Murnamai ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Advaita Bhakti Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the Eternal Lord. All glories to the Eternal Lord. All glories to the Eternal Lord. Gopimanandi Hari Hari Bol. Namaskar. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 7, scheduled incarnations, text 11. Sate Mama Asa Bhagavan Hayashirasha Ata Sakshat Saha Yagyapurushaha Tapaniya Varnaha Chandamayaha Makamayaha Akila Devata Atma Vachaha Babhuvahu Ushatihi Susataha Asya Nashtaha Satveva Manasa Bhagavan Hayashirsa Satveva Manasa Bhagavan Hayashirsa Shato Sakshat Sayagya Purushastapaniya Varna Chando Mayo Makamayo Kila Devatatma Vacho Bahu Bhujati Fasatosya Nashtaha Sate Mamasa Bhagavan Hayashirashato Sakshat Sayagya Purushastapaniya Varna Chando Mayo Makamayo Kila Devatatma Vacho Bahu Bhubur Ushiti Shasatosya Nashtaha Satre Mamasa Bhagavan Hayashirasato Sakshat Sayagya Purushastapaniya Varnaha Chando Mayo Makamayo Kila Devatatma Vacho Bahuvur Ujati Shasatosi Nashtaha Words it on? No words? Too late now. You can put it on the screen? No? Okay, let everyone see a phone so everyone can chant. Go ahead.
Satre mamasa bhagavan hayashira shatho Saksha sayagya purushastapaniya varnah Chando mayo makamayo kila devatatma Vacha babhuvur ushati shvasato syanashtah
That was unexpected today.
Satre mamasa bhagavan hayasirasto Saksat sayagnya purushastapaniya varna Chando mayo makahamayo kila deva atmama Vacho babhuvor ushatai shashvato sayanashta
Satre mamasa bhagavan hayashirsha sato Sakshat sayagya purushastapaniya varnaha Vacho babhuvur ushati sasvato sanastaha
Satre mamasa bhagavan hayashirsha sato Sakshat sayagya purushas tapaniya varna Chando mayo makamayo kila devatatma Vacho babhuvur usati swasato syanastah
Satre in the sacrificial ceremony. Mama of mine. Asa appeared. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Hayashirsa, with his horse-like head. Ata, thus. Sakshat, directly. Saha, he. Yagyapurushaha, the person who is pleased by performance of sacrifice. Tapaniya, golden. Varnaha, hue. Chandamaya, personified Vedic hymns. Makamaya, personified sacrifice. Akila, all that be. Devata Atma, the soul of the demigods. Vachaha, sounds. Bahu Bahu, become audible. Ushatihi, very pleasing to hear. Shasataha, while breathing. Asya, his. Nishtaha, through the nostrils. Translation. The Lord appeared as the high Agriva incarnation in a sacrifice performed by me, Brahma. He is the personified sacrifices. And the hue of his body is golden. He is the personified Vedas as well. And the super soul of all demigods. When he breathed, all the sweet sounds of the Vedic hymns came out of his nostrils. Purport.
The Vedic hymns are generally meant for sacrifices performed by fruitive workers who also want to satisfy the demigods to achieve their fruitive result. But the Lord is the personified sacrifices and personified Vedic hymns. Therefore, one who is directly a devotee of the Lord is a person who has automatically both served the purposes of sacrifices and pleased the demigods. The devotees of the Lord may not perform any sacrifice or may not please the demigods as per Vedic injunctions, and still the devotees are on a higher level than the fruitive workers or the worshippers of different demigods.
Because Krishna is, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the source of all the demigods, and he is the enjoyer. It's like the enjoyer of the body is the stomach. So all the food, it has to go to the stomach. Then it can be enjoyed. Even if it bypasses the other places. Someone might say, the arms didn't get any food, they gave so much away, but they didn't take any. But no, still they get their share by giving to the stomach. Because Vishnu, you give by Vishnu. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram jagatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram sridam sarvabhutaram gyavamam shatamashti. If one understands that Krishna is the enjoyer of all the sacrifices, he is the owner of all plants and demigods, and he's the dearest friend of every living entity, then he attains peace from the pangs of misery. So that's how to live peacefully in this world. Material world generally is not for peaceful living. It's a place meant for suffering and so many problems. But if one lives according to the scheme that Krishna has arranged, then still one can live peacefully here for some time. That's the idea. Live here peacefully for some time, practice devotional service, become adept in devotional service, and then Chakpadeham Punar Janma Naiti Mami Jisvojana. Upon giving up this body, don't have to take birth again. Go back to home, back to Godhead. That's the plan. That's what we're supposed to be doing here. Last night we were talking about that we have a tendency to forget that. And we wake up, and we come in contact with a representative of the Lord, and he tells us to wake up. The Vedas say, Uttishtata Jagrata Prapya Varuna Bodhata. Now it's time to wake up and hear the message of the Lord. The Lord doesn't want us to delay any longer in this world. It's like a father. Father is waiting for his lost son to get out of the miserable condition. Say he's in a foreign country and he's suffering in prison. Father doesn't like this. See his son suffering like that. He wants him to come back. So Krishna wants the living entities to come back. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is a chance for Arjuna to achieve the perfection of his life by carrying out Krishna's instructions. And not just Arjuna, but everyone else who hears the message of Krishna also gets the opportunity to follow the instructions. Those instructions are not just for Arjuna, they're for all the living entities. Therefore, it's eternal message. Bhagavad Gita is not just a temporary instruction for some particular circumstance. Everyone is in that circumstance. We're all caught up in the material world, forgetful of who we are, forgetting the purpose of life, thinking that we're the enjoyer, everything is meant for our pleasure, and we'll be happy here. It's like even now, people are thinking that things are going nicely, we're making good progress. Now India's gone to the moon. Such a wonderful achievement, accomplishment. The whole world should rejoice. And we're coming up with so many nice medicines. We're treating so many different types of disease now. We've got so many hospitals. Nobody's got as many hospitals as we do. In fact, you have a hospital practically on every corner. This is great. So we're thinking this is a good success. But actually it's a sign of degradation. That we're getting so much disease, we're not getting rid of disease. We're not getting rid of death. The death rate is still the same. And people are not happier because they're not living a pious life. They're not living in harmony with God. How can they be happy if they're living in defiance of God's instructions? Well, they say, well, there's no need for God. We don't have there's no absolute need for God. We've explained all the science so nicely that we don't need these antiquated biblical or scriptural stories, religion, about things that I just mythological. We've outgrown that now. We're able to explain everything through science, scientific explanation. That's what got us through the COVID, scientific explanation. If we didn't have that, even though so many churches, if the churches had stayed open, but we didn't have the scientific information, then it would have been a failure. We would have been destroyed. So this is great. We should be very happy. COVID should be like a wake-up call for us that science is the harbinger of all success. Happiness really comes when we get more science. So here, the horse incarnation, I agree with. We may say, how is it possible that a person could have a head like a horse and the rest of the body like a human? Not possible. Well, it may not be possible for us. Doesn't mean it's impossible for God. We have horses. We have elephants. There's so many animals. Who made those? Where do they come from? Well, they don't know. They say they just came by mutations, some kind of chance, strange things. And then one happened to outlive the other species, so they remain. They have their theories. But according to the Vedas, the living entities, they're formed in 8,400,000 species. Jalajanavalakshani. 900,000 species are within the water. Jalajanavalakshani, Stavram, Lakshmi, 2 million plants and trees. Krimayo Sankhya, 1,100,000 insects and reptiles. Pakshikam, Dasalakshanam. 1 million bird species. So many different birds, 1 million different bird species, but none of them fly together. You don't see the crows flying with the swans, or the sparrows flying with the cranes. They all go with their own species. They mate with their species. They don't intermate. Who made that law? Who arranged all that? That's Krishna, that's God. He has all these abilities. He's such an artist. He can do it. And in some cases, he even appears in special form, unique for himself. Forms that we can't duplicate, such as this form, I agree with. Half man, half horse head. And he had an important reason. He transmitted the Vedic knowledge through this head. Or he performed some particular function like in the case of Varaha, the boar, the earth, the Bhumandala, Srila Jiva Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained that the whole Bhumandala had fallen down into the Garbhodak ocean because the earth is our earth, what we consider our, it's a small ball compared to the whole Bhumandala. So in this way, the Bhumandala, the demon Hiranyaksha was so powerful, he upset the whole Bhumandala, fell down. And in order to lift it up, it required a very strong snout. He had to get under it at the end, the edge. So he got under it at the edge. According to the description, cosmological description, there's some space around the perimeter of the Bhumandala circle, because the coverings of the universe begin after that. But there's some space where there's room for sliding up and down. That's where Ra picked up the earth, Bhumandala. No one else could have done that. And when he came as a beautiful little boy, what's he called? Dwarf. Yeah, dwarf Brahmin. So that he came as a dwarf Brahmin, very beautiful, to attract and to make Bali Maharaj feel confident that he could give he can give his charity to this little Brahmana. So nice, so trustworthy. Everyone likes to trust a child, small child. So he put his trust, he put his trust in Vaman, and the Vaman, he said, I just want 3 steps of land. So Bali said, you can take more than that. I have so much land. You take a planet and your legs are quite small. Better take more than 3. He said, no, 3 will be enough. I shouldn't be greedy. So anyway, he took everything away from Brahman. The whole 3 planetary systems. That was to save the demigods, because Bali at that time was taking the side of the non-devotees. But he was restored to his original. So the Lord takes different forms for different purposes, as he likes. And it's always very wonderful. We can just imagine some of these amazing stories, how they took place, and someday maybe our devotees may be able to present these in a very attractive way, which will help us to understand, to get some idea But even just hearing is very nice. So the hearing of these stories will have that effect as we become purified. Then Krishna will reveal himself. Nama, his name, his fame, his pastimes, entourage. These naturally become revealed as the heart of the devotee becomes purified. When the heart is a pure place, then only pure things remain there, nothing impure. And then one can think of the Lord all the time. Like they have Star Wars, it's very attractive, mind-grabbing type thing, and how much money have they spent on that? How much energy? Trying to reproduce something that's just fictitious, but it comes from the real thing, the sources, but they don't know the source is actually God. The hero, the real hero, is Krishna. And the real demons are us. We become the demons. And we have to get purified, changed. Because we're just living like Hiranyakashipu ourselves. It's not that Hiranyakashipu is a bad guy and we're all good guys. We're doing the same thing. Every man wants to exploit all the women and the wealth for his. He wants to become the most popular. He wants to become a rock and roll singer. That's it. Everyone. Or she wants to become the rock and roll singer. Everyone wants to be the imitation, supreme, center of attraction. And everyone wants everyone else to serve and to serve them. And do everything for them and think of them always. So this has to be changed. The heart has to be purified. And it becomes purified by hearing the pastimes of the Lord. So that's why we're hearing this. Yeah. So this explains that by performing devotional service, one automatically fulfills all duties of fruit of work, all the karma kanda. Karma kanda, jnana kanda, kevala vishara bandha. These two paths, fruit of work and speculation, they are considered to be pots of poison. They're not healthy. Devotees are not interested in these paths because they lead to becoming entangled in being the competitor of the Lord. Either one becomes a competitor to the Lord in this world by trying to get more companies under his portfolio, more money in his bank, or he tries to become a competitor of God through claiming that he's one. Tatvamasi, you are that. There's no need to worship Krishna separately. You are Krishna, you are everything. It's also a competitor. That's a great foolishness. Say, well, Jnanis are so intelligent, they have so much knowledge. They have so much knowledge they think that they're God. Seems to be lack of knowledge. Even a beginner in devotional service knows he's not God. He doesn't have to be in devotional service, just sanity. Okay, any discussion?
I'm just wondering, why it is that, actually I can't remember my question, sorry.
Danavir Maharaj, thank you very much for your... The demon Madhu stole the Vedas from Lord Brahma, and the Vedas were rescued by the Hayagriva incarnation. And in the painting and stream of the Bhagavatam, Hayagriva is seen holding the Vedas in book form, but I thought that previously, before Kali Yuga, there were no books. So,
yeah, generally we understand, it's like the Matsya Avatar, when he collected all the Vedas and kept them on a boat. Those are the Vedas personified. So, Vedas personified mean that there, formerly, as we know, there was no need for books because people could remember just by hearing. And if you had the Vedas personified, they could always recite Vedas again and again. No difficulty by memory. It's like if you have a digital recording, you can play it again and again. So, but we can also have sometimes the literature is put into written form, as we have now. Vedavyas, he compiled for this age, especially, because in this age, people don't have such good memories. But it can be written in so many different ways, can be used.
I'm wondering how to strike the balance as a preacher of Krishna consciousness between discussing the Leela of Krishna and the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita.
Discussing what?
Discussing, these different Leelas and Bhagavad Gita philosophy, or some of the...
Well, Prabhupada he combined the two. He gave Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam both equal importance. And you could say he stressed on one hand he stressed on the philosophy more because it was so necessary for us to understand. But I remember in 1970, the Krishna book came out. It's just printed. Dai Nippon. 3 volumes. Was it 3 or was it 2? 2, I think. 2 big volumes. Pictures. It was a knockout. Everybody was amazed. Beautiful paintings. That was all Leela. He felt, Prabhupada, that he wasn't sure that he would be able to live long enough to complete the whole 10th canto at the rate he was going. So just to make sure that everyone got the Leela, Krishna's pastimes, which are so important. He wrote the Krishna book first, out of sequence. At that time, there were only 3 volumes, the first 3 volumes that he brought over from India at that time. Because I got those last 3 volumes, and there were no others. And then the Krishna book. That shows how important he considered Leela. So they're both important. Just like you have to understand them in order, in some sequence. If you try to understand Krishna's pastimes, his personal pastimes, with his internal associates, and prematurely, you won't be able to understand. Like a child tries to understand the affairs between mother and father, intimate affairs. At the beginning stage, he won't be able to understand. In due course, he'll become qualified, he can understand everything. The Lord will reveal to him. But we should be careful about prematurely thinking we're mature and that we can only concentrate on Leela and philosophy is not so important. You don't want to make that error. Because when someone does that, they say, well, we've been around a long time now, and we should be ready for higher principles. Point is, have we learned the primary principle that we're not this body? If we're still acting like we're the body and lusting after sense gratification all the time, then how can we be ready for the higher? But anyway, if we patiently go on, even though we're not on the highest platform, we're making advancement, we can make some advancement. And we can appreciate something about his pastimes by the grace of the Lord. And because we're hearing from the right source, in the right mood, then we'll become purified. If we're hearing from the wrong source and with the wrong mood, then we won't make spiritual advancement, we'll become contaminated.
You were speaking about Rahadev lifting the Bhumandala, and I was wondering how to understand the sizes that we hear of the Lord and some of the demons also in Bhagavatam. Sometimes I find it confusing. Like sometimes a demon is described as being blocking out the sun, like Vritrasura, but then he catches a club that Indra was throwing, and it's just hard to understand the different things they're doing while being these sizes.
Just imagine how it would be presented in Star Wars. You get some idea. They might make it gigantic. I haven't seen Star Wars, so I don't know. what it's like. But I would imagine they have all different kinds of imagery to portray. This is just the beginning. If you really like these type of things, you can be engaged with Krishna's and his pastimes in this world. And all these battles, you can take part in. If you're very excited about such battles and parts, you can join the Lord. He has so many different battles, fighting with the demons. And just like when Krishna came, the demons had taken over the earth. They had come from all over the universe and made their headquarters, Earth. And Bhumi was overpowered. Nothing she could do was beyond her. Her police force was small. She couldn't take care of all these big demons. So if we look and we see in the Mahabharata and other scriptures, these personalities, they were not just ordinary demons, they were big demons. Like Duryodhana and his brothers, 100 sons. So he had 99 brothers, they were all big demons. So it was no small battle. Battle of Kurukshetra turned into a gigantic thing. Anything else? Thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.